everyone, so today's video I'm really excited about because I'm going to be reviewing all of the products I own from Urban Decay, and I really like Urban Decay. This is my Hufflepuff mug. I have a couple actually, but look, it's so cute. Love it. When Urban Decay comes out with stuff, I'm almost always intrigued. It's kind of like, it's different than Too Faced. So I recently did a video where I reviewed all of my products from Too Faced, and I'll go ahead and link that down below in case you're interested in that. But for Too Faced, for me, it's the packaging. It's just so cutesy. And I'm not really that much of a cutesy gal, but like Too Faced just gets it to me. I don't know. It's something about it I just love. Urban Decay is more edgy. Like, it's one of those brands that, if we're completely honest, I don't feel like I'm cool enough to wear. It's just super edgy and cool. But also, they just have really high quality. I know that people talk about how hit and miss Urban Decay is, and I have quite a few. We'll go over it today, obviously. I have quite a few of their limited edition palettes, and I'm really impressed with all of them. I think they're really good, and I enjoy them. My sister was looking for some eyeshadow recently. I had gotten her a matte quad, like I made her own quad a couple of years ago, and she needed some new eyeshadow. She's not a person like me that has like 50,000 eyeshadows. She only had like those 5. She had 4 and then like a couple other ones. So she was like, how is Urban Decay? Like, there's a palette from them. I'm interested in the color scheme. And I was like, girl, Urban Decay is so good. So I really like them. And today we're going to talk about them. So predominantly I have eyeshadows from them. I'll go ahead and do the lip products. I don't have any cheek products from them. And obviously this is what I currently own. In the past I've owned other things, but I've like used them up or I've decided to declutter them. So there you go. If I don't want to go back and like talk about every single thing I've ever owned from a brand, because I feel like that's just a lot and I might not remember everything. Plus, like, if I used up something like 2 years ago, I might not have the greatest memory of that. So I'm not going to do that. But this is what I own right now. And I do have 5 lipsticks. So I have 4 from the Alice Through the Looking Glass collection. And this collection came out with 5, and I know I had all 5 at one point. But for the life of me, I cannot remember what the 5th color is, and I don't know where it is. That's okay. This time when this collection came out was when I first started my master's program. And when I started my master's program, I didn't have a ton of money, but I had more extra money than I ever had before, if that makes sense. So it wasn't like I was like, oh wow, I can like go buy a car or anything. Like I didn't make that much. I made like a little bit less than minimum wage. But that was more than I had ever had before, like disposable income. So I decided that anytime a Disney collection came out, I needed to buy the whole thing. And that's what I did. And I did that with like 3 or 4. I did that with this collection, the Beauty and the Beast collection with Lorac, the Lorac Pirates of the Caribbean collection, and the Besame Snow White collection. I know I did it with those 4. I might have done it with some other ones. But I ended up with things I don't really care about. And so I'm not going to do that again. But I can tell you, like, this shade, Time. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. Like, it's a dark blue lipstick. That's fine. I mean, it is spooky time, obviously. Look, this is a, what do you call it? Nightmare Before Christmas Dachshund shirt. Isn't that great? I know. My little brother gave it to me for Christmas. So, like, I mean, I have worn it before, but like not very much, you know? So I have that shade, the shade Alice, which I do really like. So it looks terrible in the tube. But it's like a nude with this like pink flash. It's really overcast today, and if you don't know, I use natural lighting. So I'm sorry if that doesn't really show very well, or if I look great, like terrible. What are you gonna do? Then I can swatch this. So let me swatch Time. And you can even tell in that swatch how patchy it is. It's not great. It's not. Then we have the shade Hatter, which I do like because I love a purple lipstick. But again, it's kind of patchy. So that's not like just the way the light is on those lipsticks. Like, that's just a hole in the swatch. And then the shade Arachibeth. And then again, there's another one, but I don't remember what it is. I feel like it was called Time, but I don't remember. I don't have it anymore. Or if I do, I just can't find it at the moment. So these 3 of them, so yes. Well, Time and Hatter are metallized formula. Okay, and then Alice is a sheer shimmer, and then Arachibeth is a comfort matte. And these are their Vise lipsticks. And they're good. I mean, like I said, I really like Alice. I think it's pretty. I like Hatter, though. It's dry, and I don't love the formula. I just love the color. Arachibeth is really pretty, but it moves around a lot. So not the best, but I bought them all. I would not purchase any of these again, honestly. And then we have this shade, which is a little mini I got. I'm sure I put in a code at Sephora because I'm definitely notorious for being one of those people that if there's like a code you can put in at Sephora, I feel like I have to make an order to get that free item. I know that's dumb, but I am. And this is the shade Big Bang. It's a sparkly pink lipstick. Obviously, well, if you don't know, pink is my favorite color. And it is super metallic. It is hardcore, like that 80s lip, and I kind of like it. I do. It is so metallic. This is the same with the Time and the Hatter shades, where you can like feel the glitter on your lips. It's definitely like a gritty lipstick, but kind of cool. I don't know. So, there you go. None of those lip products are my favorite, I would say, and I'm not like over the moon about them. And then we'll get into the eye products, because that's, obviously eyeshadow is my favorite anyway. And if you don't know, this is still during Corona time. I say that with the hopes that eventually it will be out of Corona time, though my hopes of that is dwindling as the days go by. So I'm not wearing a full face of makeup. Usually I would like have more on and make this look more complete, but I wear a face mask, so you can only see this much. So if you just look at this much, it's like, oh, hey girl, what's going on? And we'll talk about what is going on. We'll talk about it. So I have 2 of the Urban Decay single shadows. This is just the shade Bender. It's just like a dark green. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's pretty. But this I got for free because it was my birthday at Ulta. I would not purchase that as a single shadow. A single shadow has to be really special to me. And then I have this shade, which is the Lounge. And people, like, it was like 4 or 5 years ago, everyone flipped out about Lounge. They were like, do you understand? It's the duochrome. And it is. It's one of those blue, brown, green duochromes. See that? It's very pretty. It is what's all over my lid. I have another shade in the crease in case you're wondering, but it's all over my lid. And it's very pretty. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And I really like it. I don't feel like it's super unique. I feel like you see these kind of shades in a lot of places, but it is really good. And, you know, this is an older shadow, but I think it still holds up really nicely. So I like that. And like I said, I have it on my lids today. I think it's pretty. It's not quite as unique as some other things. Then I've got only one of the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On pencils that everyone loves. Like, not everyone. I feel like they had a time where, like, this was everyone's favorite color or favorite liner. And they do a great job of having a lot of different colors. You know, like I said, this is the only one I have. It's in Perversion, like the classic black. And I think it does a good job. It stays in my waterline all day. It's really creamy and easy to apply. Really no complaints. It's expensive, and I feel like there's a lot of drugstore eyeliners that are just as good. So I wouldn't purchase it, but it is good. I guess I should say I would purchase it if they had a color. Like if there was a really unique color that I couldn't find at the drugstore. But so it's good. It's just not wow. And then I have this, the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Liner in the shade AC/DC. I love this. This is the glitter liners. This is how glitter liners should be, I guess is what I should say. Because it's so chock full of glitter that when you put it on your eyes, it's not like, oh, you have 2 specks of glitter. It's like a full glitter line, which is what I feel like everyone wants when they buy a glitter liner, but you don't always get that. So it's really good. It's also a dark enough shade that it still can define my eyes without, like a lot of times I feel like I have to do a dark look like this to put glitter on and it still define my eyes. But this is dark enough that I can do a light look and my eyes are still defined by this shade. And I really like it. I highly recommend these. Okay, and then we have eyeshadows. I have quite a few Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes. All right, this is the Urban Decay Ammo palette. I have used up the shade Shattered. This is a very old palette, and honestly, the quality of this has decreased a lot. It's not in my Project 10 uses, but I think it's gonna go in there soon, and it might quickly go into the trash can because it's just old. You know, I mean, one of these things that like people don't like to talk about, and I try to talk about it a lot on my channel because I don't feel like it's covered enough in the YouTube world, is that makeup goes bad. And when makeup goes bad, like the quality diminishes significantly. And then kind of see that happening here. This I feel like is like very classic Urban Decay where they just put like, this is a 10 shade all glitter palette. And they weren't necessarily thinking about like looks you could create, just like look how pretty these shades are. I do feel like they've done better trying to make more cohesive palettes, but maybe that's just my bias. I also have, you know what, I'm looking at these and I'm realizing right now that none of these eyeshadow palettes are available anymore. So there you go. I don't know, maybe you want to click off because you're like, well, I wanted to see you talk about like the Naked palettes. I don't own a Naked palette. I'm not that interested in the Naked palette line, honestly. They don't like excite me. I like color. I do like neutrals. I have a neutral palette, but like the Naked palettes are just fine to me. This is the Urban Decay Smoked palette. I like this one a lot. I like to pull into these shades for my outer V, or for my outer corner a lot. And also if I'm just like feeling dark and smoky for the whole day, I would go in here. This Freestyle shade I like. Obviously, I hit pan on this in a Project Pan, and I've used it a lot. It's a great transition shade for my skin tone. This shade Backdoor, I hit pan naturally because I use this almost every day in my eyebrows. It is what's in my eyebrows today. It's great. It's absolutely great. It's perfect for my brown hair, my actual hair color. It is going to go back brown in October because I'm getting married and I'm going to have brown hair for my wedding. I don't know if I want brown hair, but my mom certainly does. It's just not worth the fight. I had pink hair for my engagement photos, so there you go. Then we have the Urban Decay Moondust Palette. This palette I feel like had really mixed reviews. So it's 8 glitter shades. These are all pressed glitters. I don't love this shade Spectre. It doesn't do much. But these are so pretty. On the lids, they just give you so much dimension. I've used them alone and I've used them over shadows. So like the Spectre shade, you can use over shadows and it's fine. It's a lot. It's a way to take your look from like this level to this level. And I really enjoy it. And I think they're really high quality. I like it a lot. But I like glitter, obviously. This is my one neutral palette from Urban Decay. It's the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. Again, this was in this time of my life where I didn't care what I was buying. I just wanted to have more makeup. And so I really had no desire to own this. I was like, that's boring. And then it went on sale. I want to say it went from like $54 to $27. And I was like, well, for $27, I'll try it. This palette is so good. The shades are very high quality. It's a neutral palette. I don't love a neutral palette, but I create some really beautiful neutral looks. If I need a neutral palette, if I want to go neutral for the day, I reach here. They also, Gwen Stefani obviously has a very light skin tone, so this is not a very inclusive palette by any means. But if you do happen to have a light skin tone, these shades are great for like transitions, and like there's slight differences that like maybe is a little redundant, but on the eyes, it just gives you a slightly different feel, and I really like it. I like it a lot. Here is the Urban Decay Alice Through the Looking Glass palette. Like I said, I had all the lipsticks for it. And here's the palette. It's a little bit of a hodgepodge. It is. But it's really good. Obviously, I have pan in the shade Hatter. I reach into this palette, and I almost always love the looks I create. It is very warm tone. It's a lot more neutrals than you might think. I will say this shade Metamorphosis continually disappoints me because I always want it to be really vibrant, and it's just not. you can see even from a finger swatch, like, it takes a lot of building, and even built up, it's never the look I want. But besides that, this shade is good. I mean, this palette is good. This palette is good, is what I'm trying to say. And I like it. It's also pretty classic Urban Decay with this, like, obnoxiously huge packaging. So here we are. And here we have the butterfly. So take that as you will. I don't hate it, but it does take up a lot of room in my collection. Then I have one of the Urban Decay Vise palettes. These were the thing for a while. I think they came out with 6 of them. There was 1 through 4, and then the triple X, or the double X, and then like the Vise Limited. I want to say there's been 6. I have Vise 4. This really cool packaging. I talked about this recently because this shade Flame, I love it for this time of year. It's super sparkly and great. I did yesterday, actually, I used a look with Flame, and then I put Delete in the outer corner, and I didn't have on a shadow base, which I usually do, but I used like a glitter base for Flame, and I was like, well, it's fine, because I don't have an issue with like my shadows wearing. This came off before I got in the car. Like, I literally was driving to school, and I was like, wow, no more dark brown shadow. So I need to play with this some more, this whole palette, because I think it's also getting old and maybe about time to go. But I still like it, and it is a cool collection of shades. This is the Urban Spectrum palette. This is kind of weird. Like, this packaging isn't very conducive to traveling. They talk about how, like, you can take out, oh shoot. I just dug my nail into a shade. You can take out the shades, and then it's like a little jewelry box, but like, do you want a jewelry box that has an Urban Decay on it? I don't know, I certainly don't. But these shades are all so pigmented, so pretty. Wow, actually, that blue is not great. Whoa. I might be having to change what I'm saying. Is this also getting old? Let's get to 3 more shades. Okay, well, those are stunning. There we go. That pink, these 2 are stunning. That's okay. So, it's, you know, it's getting old. That's really a huge bummer, but they're beautiful. And this to me is like Urban Decay quality at its best. Like these shimmery shades that are very jewel tone, that are very pretty on the eyes. Then we have the electric palette. So they have right now like this wired palette that has like UV shades. And they also came out with the Urban Decay After Dark that was supposed to be like the sequel to this palette. I don't have either of those. But this is the original electric palette. I very recently created a look with these 2 shades, and I loved it. So it does have some great shades. It really does. The blendability, especially of these 2 shades, well, this shade Chaos is not great. And then this shade Revolt is really just a glitter topper. Like in a swatch, you're like, hey. I mean, it's pretty, but you just have to know what you're getting into. Like, it's not a silver eyeshadow, it's a glitter topper. But pink is great. These 2 shades are great. I mean, it is good, and I do like it. This is in my Project 10 uses right now, and I've been playing with it a little more and enjoying it. And the last eyeshadow palette I have is the Urban Spectrum palette. No. What is this one? I thought this was the Urban. This is the Urban Decay Urban Spectrum palette, and this is the Urban Decay Spectrum palette. There you go. This is just a rainbow palette. It's a typical rainbow palette. I used this orange C's today. That's the orange you see in my crease and on my lower lid. And then I have Iced in my inner corner and Bump on my brow bone. I know people really didn't like that name because of cocaine. Totally get it. Urban Decay has been riding that line of like drug culture, I feel like, since they started. Right now they have the Stoned palette out. So, I don't know. I know people don't like that. I feel like it's kind of their vibe. So if you don't like that, like, I wouldn't support Urban Decay at all, but you do you. But this is a beautiful palette. So pretty. I do feel like I mean, it's definitely a rainbow palette, but it's not one of those rainbow palettes where you feel like you're getting a bunch of the same shade. There is a nice mix of shades. They do perform well, and they're very pigmented. All right, so that's everything. That is all of the makeup from Urban Decay I have. You can see there's some hits, there's some misses, there's a lot of old makeup. So that is one of the reasons why I went on a no-buy for 2 years, and now I'm really limiting the makeup I purchase because it gets old, and when it gets old, it's not as good. So, you know, if you're starting with makeup, or even if you're not, even if you have a huge collection already, it's just a friendly reminder that it gets old, and then you just have to throw it away. And to me, at least, maybe it doesn't to you, but to me, it feels super wasteful, and I don't like it. But that is all I have for you today. As always, if you have any questions, requests, suggestions, or comments, go ahead and leave those down below. I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see y'all real soon. Bye.